Papa told me I couldn't do a lot of things.
I feel like I'm the chosen one.
Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. All we are is proud and passionate. I love Toronto. I love this team. And we're going to the NBA Finals. Let's go!
Nothing matters but winning.
Welcome back to episode 46 of Rapzville Weekly. I'm your co-host, Gabriel Chelio, here with...
Adam Casucci with the brand new mic here.
Yeah, we got some new mics. Mine's still coming in, but we're trying to up the production quality just for you guys, so please feel special. Today we are bringing back a classic series for our channel that usually did pretty well, and I think people enjoyed it. We're going back to the origin stories, and we are introducing some of the new Raptors players who have just signed. And today we're going to cover Aron Baynes. I think this is going to be the biggest one out of the new players. Interesting pickup. We did have the sad departure of Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol, and now we are looking to start a new chapter with an interesting cast, to say the least. So, without further ado, let's introduce a little bit about Aron Baynes. Aron Baynes was born on the 9th of December, 1986. He is currently 33 years old, but he will be turning 34 quite soon, a week and a half, I believe. And when he was at the age of 5, his family moved to a small town in Australia called Mariba in Queensland. He grew up playing rugby while attending Mariba State High School until the age of 15 when his older brother Calum introduced him to basketball. From this result, Baynes decided to focus on pursuing a career in basketball and then quit the rugby league. Shortly after his high school graduation, he joined the Australian Institute of Sport in 2004-05 and accepted a college scholarship offer from Tony Bennett to play for Washington State University in 2006. During his college career under Bennett, Washington State tied the school wins record twice consecutively, going 26-8 in 06-07 and 26-9 in 2007-2008. On May 29, 2009, Baynes signed a 2-year deal with Lietuvos Rytas of the Lithuanian Basketball League. This meant that he would not be drafted into the NBA. Then in July 2009, he played for the Los Angeles Lakers Summer League, and then went back to his old club for the 2009-2010 season. On July 15, 2010, Baynes signed a 2-year deal with EWE Baskets Oldenburg of the German Basketball Bundesliga. In the 40 games he played, he averaged 6.8 points and 3.7 rebounds per game. Then on August 24, 2011, Baynes signed a 1-year deal with Ikaros Kalithias of the Greek Basketball League. Yet again, Baynes signed with a new team on August 1, 2012. He signed a 1-year deal with Union Olimpija of the Slovenian Basketball League. As of January 5th, 2013, Baynes wanted to pursue an NBA contract, so he left the team after playing his final game. At age 26, he made his way to the NBA after signing with the San Antonio Spurs on the 23rd of January 2013. In his second NBA game ever, Baynes recorded 7 points, 9 rebounds, and a block in a 102-78 win over the Charlotte Bobcats. He made his first NBA start in Game 4 of the Spurs' first-round playoff matchup against the Los Angeles Lakers and was tasked with defending Dwight Howard. He only played, I believe, 4 games this playoffs, but the Spurs obviously did end up losing in the 2013 NBA Finals to the Miami Heat, so Baynes was not a champion yet. Throughout the December of 2013, Baynes was called up and sent back down to the G League team, Austin Toros, multiple times. On May 6, 2014, he recorded a playoff career-high numbers of 10 points and 7 rebounds in a 116-92 win over the Portland Trailblazers in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. Baynes went on to help the Spurs defeat the Miami Heat 4-1 in the 2014 NBA Finals to claim his first NBA championship. So we are bringing in a champion here. He obviously didn't play that much. I think he played 14 games in the playoffs, about 7 minutes a game, but he did win a championship with the Spurs. Quite interesting. He had the experience playing with Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green, 2 of our former Raptors. And then on September 26, 2014, Baynes re-signed with the Spurs. And then on December 20th, he scored a career high at the time, 16 points, while starting in place of Tim Duncan in a loss to the Dallas Mavericks. But then on April 1st and April 3rd of 2015, Baynes had back-to-back 18-point games.
That offseason, Baynes signed with the Detroit Pistons on March 19, 2016. He scored a career-high 21 points in a 115-103 win over the Brooklyn Nets. On the 19th of March 2017, Baynes grabbed a career-high 17 rebounds alongside 13 points in a 112-95 win over the Phoenix Suns. In July of 2017, Baynes signed with the Boston Celtics. On November 8, 2017, he matched his career high with 21 points in a 107-96 win over the Los Angeles Lakers. In the Celtics regular season finale on the 11th of April 2018, Baynes led a shorthanded Boston lineup with a career-best 26 points and 14 rebounds in a win over the Brooklyn Nets. On July 7th, 2018, Baynes re-signed with the Celtics, and on the 19th of December of that year, Baynes broke a bone in his left hand while playing against the Phoenix Suns. He was subsequently ruled out for 4 to 6 weeks. He returned to action on the 16th of January 2019 against the Toronto Raptors. Later, he was re-injured on the 3rd of February with a left foot contusion. Aron is also credited with teaching Daniel Theis all he knows about basketball, so maybe if we verse the Celtics this year, we can get some tips on how to play him. On July 6, 2019, Baynes, along with the draft rights to Ty Jerome, was traded to the Phoenix Suns for a 2020 protected first-round pick. After DeAndre Ayton was suspended for 25 games due to diuretic usage on the 24th of October, Baynes was promoted to being the team's starting center during that period of time. On October 30th, Baynes recorded 24 points, 12 rebounds, and a career-high 7 assists in a 121-110 win over the Golden State Warriors. Then, on March 6th, Baynes exploded for 37 points and hit 9 three-pointers, both career highs, along with 16 rebounds in a 127-117 victory over the Portland Trail Blazers.
Bang.
That's a great game for him. I mean, 9 three-pointers for a big man like him. It's pretty impressive. He not only tied a franchise record for most three-pointers made in a single game, but he also joins James Harden as the only other player to record 35-plus points, 15-plus rebounds, and 9 three-pointers in a single game. It's a pretty cool stat to have on your resume.
For sure.
He clearly had a solid finish to the year, improving all of his stats from the previous seasons. He averaged 11.5 points, 5.6 rebounds, 48% from field goal range, and 35% from three, which was a career-high average while shooting the most per game by far, with averaging 4 threes a game in 22 minutes of play. On the 23rd of June 2020, the Suns reported that 2 of their own players tested positive for COVID-19, and one of them was in fact Aron Baynes. Unlike his other teammate that tested positive, Baynes did rejoin the team in the 2020 NBA bubble until after the scrimmage games were finished, making sure he completely tested negative for the virus before entering the bubble. Because of his late entry and subsequent quarantine period, he was not able to play on the 31st of July against the Washington Wizards. After recovering from the virus, Baynes was later diagnosed with a right knee contusion, leaving him out of action for the rest of the resumed regular season. So we haven't seen too much of him lately, but finally we got to the present day where on November 22nd, 2020, Baynes signed a 2-year contract worth $14.3 million with the Toronto Raptors. The signing was officially announced by the Raptors on November 25th, 2020. To lastly acknowledge his international career, Baynes has played for the Australian national team, the Boomers, as they say, at the 2010 FIBA World Championship in Turkey, the 2012 Summer Olympics in London, and the 2014 FIBA Basketball World Cup in Spain, the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, and the 2019 FIBA Basketball World Cup in China. So he's had a lot of experience internationally. The Boomers' Rio campaign saw them reach the bronze medal match, where they lost to Spain. Their campaign in China also saw the Boomers reach the bronze medal match, where they lost to France.
Very interesting story here for Aron Baynes, a very seasoned player. Very interesting that he didn't get drafted and decided to go overseas and spent multiple years, I believe, 3 or 4 years, bouncing around to different clubs all around the world. So he went to Slovenian League, the Lithuanian League, the German League, the Greek League. He kind of covered all the bases there, and then eventually made his way back to the NBA, I guess where he wanted to be. And coming into the NBA age 26, a little older than most players, but he had the experience. He had played professional basketball for a long time, and a little bit of a slow start in the NBA, I would say, but he has been a consistent, I would say, reserve backup player, backup center. And as of recent, starting to come out of his shell a little bit, even though playing less games this season because of coronavirus, has improved all of his numbers. Points department pretty much doubled his previous season. amounts, and the minutes haven't improved that much. Take that into account. And this could also be acknowledging the fact that his three-pointers per game have went up dramatically, only shooting 1.2 in the 2018-2019 season. Pretty much that was his first year where he started to shoot threes more often, 1 3 a game, and shot 34%. And then last season now, bumping that number up to 4 threes a game and still shooting just as well, even a little bit better. Clearly that can contribute to the more points he's had. And I think he's going to be an interesting player. Obviously, we're going to miss Serge Ibaka. I think he was a very consistent, solid player who could do pretty much everything on both ends. And Baynes is starting to show, especially as of recent, that he can shoot the three ball. He can extend the floor. From what we've seen, he's a very strong hustle player. Offensive rebounds, especially defensive rebounds, he's solid, very consistent. Whether he's going to excel in the starting role as much as Serge and Mark, well, that's probably not 100% going to happen. But I can expect, I think, a very strong work ethic from him, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, when looking at this deal, I was explaining to Gabe today. When watching his interview, Baynes, he really has a good personality. He really, I think, will bond with the Raptors players and the personality of the team. Win first, not too selfish, likes to play defense, hard worker. And I think Baynes will excel. I don't know if he's going to be that prime starting center player that we did need. But I just want to see what he can do on the court. It's great that he has a nice personality. It's great that he has been improving, and which is nice to see because we need him to play at his best here in Toronto.
Yep.
But we need to see what he can do on the court because that's ultimately where it matters. That's where the money comes to show how much you paid for the guy. Is he really worth it, right? So we really need to see what he produces. But I do think he can do well on this team. It's a nice setting for him. A very diverse city here in Toronto. Yep. And I think he'll adjust really well like Mark did. And I like his knowledge and IQ on the game. It's pretty solid, and I really want to see what he can do here in Toronto.
Yep, $7 million a year, pretty much. Not too expensive. Hopefully he makes himself worth the money. What excites me about stuff that I've seen in his past, that huge game, obviously, against the Phoenix Suns. Sorry, not Phoenix Suns, the Portland Trailblazers. 37 points, 9 3-pointers. That is spectacular. You don't see guards even get to that often unless they are, 3-point specialists. To make 9 is crazy, and he attempted 14 of them. For a big man, that's phenomenal. 37 points, it's a huge number, along with 16 rebounds. That is absolutely crazy stat line for a center, and that excites me if we see some of those games. Obviously, I'm expecting not that much. We do have a nice flowing offense, not one that's going to be driven off one player, but to see numbers like that all around, I think that it's exciting to see if he can produce that for us. But he did have, some solid spark games where he puts up double-doubles and 20-plus point nights, and he can move the ball a little bit. I think that's what surprised me the most is watching some of his play. He is able to move the ball and find the open guy. And the Phoenix Suns, although the regular season was a little wasn't the best, obviously in the bubble they did show that they could be a very solid team. I think even the regular season, Baynes did show that he can do a couple different things in the center position. He is pretty quick. I was comparing him before with Adam. Me and him were talking about this. He reminds me a little bit of JV, like the way he shoots, that same jumper, that same beard that was growing in. Yeah. He's pretty quick. I would say he's a very large player. Don't get me wrong on that. He is 6'10", 260 pounds. And he has some tendencies that remind me of Marc Gasol in play style and watching him play his movements. But at the same time, he does remind me a little bit about JV, a little more athletic. He can run a little bit faster. He seems to be doing a good job at defending. He doesn't get the most blocks per game. That's not his his best stat, but he does look like he can contest shots, stay with guards. He had a good performance against Golden State that we watched recently where he did pretty good defending even the guards in the perimeter. So that's going to be huge for us is if he can defend even the guard position, because we know that Mark was getting attacked a lot off switches, pick and rolls. So hopefully Baynes can do a good job at helping us there.
Yeah, when looking at Aron Baynes, I wasn't too happy when he first came. I didn't really read too much into him. I saw him play for Phoenix and Boston, but after hearing his interview and seeing some highlights on him and what he could bring to the team, I think he is a key piece that we were missing, especially in the rebounding department for sure. Grabbing rebounds with two hands, boxing out their man, which Marc Gasol had a lot of trouble in the playoffs doing. And I think we're gonna need him to be a big rebounder and securing and closing out defensive possessions, which is really important for Baynes. And I like his attitude. I mean, he's such a great guy, very happy all the time, it looks like. And I really want to see how he flows with the team.
Yeah, he seems to be a very hard worker. We know that. Especially, you could see it on the floor. I'm assuming it's the same off the floor. He does seem to be built very, just by the looks of him, very rugged, very determined, strong, hefty, big man. And that could stem from his, his past, being a rugby player. Like, he's got physicality to him, that's for sure. And he uses it on the court. We see that he's been boxing out guys like crazy, the offensive end, getting in position, getting offensive rebounds. He does a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot of talk here. Gabe, I want to ask you, do you think he will be starting and will be getting 30-plus minutes per game over Chris Boucher, obviously the long-tenured Raptor? I want to see what you have to say about that one, because that's a pretty interesting topic that a lot of people are talking about. Yeah,
pretty big topic right now. It's hard to see what's going to happen here. My prediction is that I think Baynes is going to get the start. He is the veteran player. He's much older. He's bigger, stronger. He'll do solid against the physicality of some of the starting centers in the league, especially the dominant ones. You think Joel Embiid. I feel like someone like him could push Boucher around a little bit easier. I think Boucher would be very solid off the bench, bringing in the energy and the shot blocking ability. I think that would do much better off the bench when you get some of the players a little more tired, and his energy will really excel. I'm still hoping that he gets a lot of minutes. I'm not predicting like 30 minutes for Baynes and 10, 15. I think it's going to be like an even split, kind of like how Ibaka and Gasol were rolling. I'm gonna predict that Boucher gets a lot of more minutes this year, but I don't think he's going to start, just for the fact that I think the solid strength and physicality of Baynes will get in the starting position, kind of like how we had Mark, a little bit slower, bigger, helping the offense move the ball. He started and Ibaka came off the bench. I'm expecting the same type of dynamic with Boucher.
Yeah, I feel like there's no spots in stone here with the three centers the Raptors have. And now today, recently waiving Duan Hernandez off the team, and that's sad to see. The 59th overall pick last year, he was improving, I thought, but we didn't really see too much of him in-game action. But to me, I think Alex Len, Aron Baynes, and Chris Boucher will all have to work really hard to get that starting spot, and I think it's up for grabs, in my opinion. I mean, I think Baynes is the guy who we all think will start, but I think Chris Boucher can work up to it. I mean, if he has a good stretch of games and Nurse sees him really fitting into the offense, being disciplined with the ball, and hitting his shots, I really feel that he can get that starting role eventually.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think, like you said, it's up for grabs. Our team really values hard work, playing well, being consistent. So I think that if Boucher does show that he's worthy of the spot, they will give it to him. I can definitely see some games Boucher starting and not always Baynes every night. But I think that Baynes is the reliable choice to start with. And I think that it's going to be a matter of, is Boucher going to prove himself? Because obviously we've yet to see him play huge minutes consistently. So to see him prove himself in every night and do it in a consistent fashion, that will get him the spot he deserves. We don't want to just hand it out to him with no proof or evidence that he's going to work for the spot and show what he has to offer. But he has said that he's ready for the task and he's ready to take the bigger role on. And I guess we're all waiting to see if he's going to perform at the best of his abilities.
Yeah, I really want to see Baynes work in the pick and roll with, we were talking about it earlier, work in the pick and roll with Lowry and Van Vliet. I really think he can excel, and in that, obviously having the high IQ of Aron Baynes and all the international experience, I think that's an easy kind of play that can work really well to both the guards and the big men of the Raptors. Yeah. And it's I think that will be the top play used with Aron Baynes. I mean, he's a great pick setter, which can give the guards a lot of space, and I think that's pretty important when you're dealing with the pick and roll and trying to get a score, right? Trying to score the ball.
Yeah, he seems like a very solid fundamental big man. He's obviously no Serge Ibaka, so I'm not like super going crazy about this next season and how well we're going to do, but I am excited to actually see what he's going to bring, because he does look like a solid piece, and I think he might bring some stability to the lineup again in terms of rebounding, no more bobbling of the hands from Marc Gasol in the playoffs, and then even offensive boards I think will go up. So I think that he's going to be just a nice solid piece. He would have been a great backup center if Mark left and we kept Serge starting, but I think we have to see what happens now. Adam, I think we want to take a little bit of a lighter turn here. I have Aron Baynes. We're trying to think of some nicknames for him. I came across a Reddit feed of possible nicknames for him because the Raptors fans, we do give a lot of nicknames out. I'm just going to read you some of the ideas that are on here and let me know if there's any that stand out or if you have any more of your own ideas. So the person that made the thread came up with the idea, the Great Wall of Australia. I think that's a solid one.
That's solid, yeah.
The next one, this one's big. We got Tampa Baynes. Because we are now moving to Tampa, we've been confirmed that we're playing there for next season. I think Tampa Baynes is pretty cool. I like that one. Then there's Bay Street Baynes for downtown Toronto. Big Street, Bay Street. So Bay Street Baynes pretty good when he comes back. For right now, I'm going Tampa Baynes so far for when we play next season. After that, we could bring it back to Bay Street Baynes maybe. There's Baynes Sanity. So it's kind of like a Linsanity. We had him in the team, Flinsanity. Now we have.
I don't know if that one fits him though.
Okay, that was usually like a spark player that like came out of nowhere and kind of just excelled. No one thought it was gonna do crazy. I don't know if the insanity part is gonna be true. Like we gotta relax. It's a cool nickname, but I don't know if I have it just yet. Next one's a spinoff of Kanye West. Here we have Kanye West, I guess. That's how they spelled it. So I'm gonna go Kanye West. That one I can't give that one. I'm not going to give that one as one of my top ones. It's a little weird. Bane the Cane Giver. That one's interesting. The rest are a little bit weirder. And then we have the Lumberjack. People are saying he looks like a lumberjack, so I'll call him the Lumberjack. I think that's pretty good. And then a couple more decent ones here. We have All Aboard, Hop on the Bane Train. I think
that one I like.
The Bane Train might be one that gets people excited. I think that might be a catchy one that people go with.
I think Jack Armstrong will really like that one, especially when he hits a three. Hop on the Bane Train. I could see him saying something like that.
Okay, that's pretty. So right now I'm gonna go Tampa Baynes and Hop on the Bane Train are two of my favorites. A Bebe, a little bit weird, and someone wrote Fireface here because of his ginger beard. So a little offensive. Right now, I'm going to say Hop on the Bane Train is definitely up there.
Yeah.
And Tampa Baynes is also really good for next season. But the Bane Train, I think, might be it. Yeah. All aboard.
And he also does have a Twitter account, a huge Twitter account, a fan page that a lot of fans have made, and they just they make memes and stuff. They do what a fan page does, and it's pretty interesting if you guys want to go check that one out. Okay, so Gabe, I have another question to ask here. When looking at Marc Gasol and how he shot the ball in the past with the hesitating and how he didn't really feel confident in his jumper, to be honest. How do you think Baynes is going to deal with that? And do you think he's going to shoot it with a lot of confidence, just shoot it to score? And really not to shy away from the shot. I mean, because it's really tempting if you're a big man shooting the three ball.
Yeah. So last season, especially, we saw Mark do the hesitations, not even look at the basket sometimes in the handoff because maybe there were set plays they were running, but he was left really open. Baynes, definitely he's shooting the ball a lot more confidently. He shot just the past year alone up his numbers from 1.2 a game to 4 a game. So he's shooting a lot more threes. But what I've noticed, especially the game where he had the 9 threes, was that they tended to be open and off the catch and shoot. So I'm guessing that it would be a kick out to Baynes. Like we've seen that with Serge, especially. He would usually shoot the kick out shots, and even Mark sometimes. I think those kick out ones, if he's open, he's not going to hesitate. If they're just the handoff plays, kind of like some of them that Mark was doing, maybe you can expect some type of hesitation if someone leaves him open because they were sagging off him when he was hitting those open threes that game where he scored the 9. They were leaving him open a little bit. So it's kind of interesting that traditionally he wasn't the best three-point shooter. He only started shooting the year before that. So it made sense people were leaving him open. Now they're probably going to guard him a little bit tighter. But I can expect mostly catch and shoot. He'll shoot them. And if it's handoffs or plays that are drawn up, like action plays, there might be a little bit of hesitation, but he's definitely more confident than Mark.
Yeah, I hope he does. I mean, if he's wide open, I hope he could hit them. He does have an unorthodox shooting form, which we all see with leaving the right foot forward after he shoots. Yeah. And but I think he'll do well. I think he'll hit his a fair share of threes, especially from the playmakers we got with Kyle and Fred. they'll get them open and really orchestrate the offense.
It's a little bit of the slingshot, like JV's a little.
Yeah.
You flick the wrist over your head and it kind of just chucks in there. But I noticed that the form is a little bit weird. I think another thing maybe is that because Baynes just started shooting the 3-ball like decently and like shooting it with a lot more often, he's not really scared. He doesn't have anything to like. He's got no downside here. People are not going to say, "Oh, this guy fell off. He can't shoot anymore," because he couldn't shoot before. So the only place to go from the bottom is upwards, right? So that's the only place to go is up. So like Marc Gasol, he has been shooting the 3-ball for a decent amount of his career, and he came to Toronto being able to shoot the 3-ball, and then he fell off. So people noticed the fall off. Here it was he just started shooting, so the only place to go was up, and he's not afraid to shoot more. Next season, a little bit different. He did have a decent season, obviously, last year, so now people are expecting him to keep shooting. But I think maybe there's a little bit of less fear than what Mark had. He didn't have any thing to worry about.
Yeah, even bringing it back to the shooting form. I mean, even Chris Boucher, how he shoots it over his head.
Yeah.
The one positive about that is it's really hard to contest if you're a defending player.
High arc.
And yeah, it's very high arc. It's over your head. I mean, I don't know how they shoot it personally because I shoot it in front of me, so I can see the ball, see the basket, see everything, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's I'm sure it's really hard for a defender to go out and block it or even contest it because it's so high up in the position of their hands, right? So that's a great thing about having that shot form.
Yeah, 6'10", 6'11", shooting threes. It's always dangerous. I remember the highlight that I saw that I was kind of shocked on was when he did that step back when he got when he had the 9 3-pointers. He's a little step back through. Like, okay, this is getting interesting now. I don't know what he's pulling some tricks out of the bag here that I haven't seen before. I feel like Baynes is one of those guys that kind of went under the radar, like in the league.
Yeah.
Phoenix Suns, like last season, is where most people kind of started picking up on him. He was in Boston for a bit too. We knew those years because the playoff basketball you'd watch, you'd see him there. But before that, Detroit, you don't really remember too often, and even San Antonio. Obviously, those are the championship years for San Antonio and like the times they made the finals against the Heat. But he was in the bench, the reserve role, barely played a couple minutes a game, under 10 minutes a game every night. So you only really started hearing his name and being more of a household name the past 3 years. So to see him now step up, maybe he could slide a little bit under the radar.
Yeah. A lot of people were saying that he just got the stats because DeAndre Ayton was injured last season, and he got to play obviously a lot more minutes. I don't think that was the case. I think his game actually did improve.
It appears so.
Just the fundamentals of his game, him being able to shoot the 3-ball, stretch the floor, and he also worked on his inside game as well. So I think his skill also did improve. And I think that's why he kind of got the stat line he did last season with almost 12 points and the 6 rebounds per game. I think he kind of earned that. It's not just because he's been given more minutes. I think that's the case.
Yeah, it appears so that his skill went up as well. But his minutes, they went up, but they didn't go up a crazy amount. It was 18 on 27-18 season. He played 18 minutes a game for Boston. Year after that, 16, now 22. So it did increase, but obviously not like a total difference, like 35 minutes. And he is going to be most likely a starter for us. So we can expect numbers around this range. It's a good indication because 22 minutes a night is not, that much. So we can expect him to play that much for us. So even though it is an increase, these are the numbers we want to see, that much minutes a game. So I think it's still a good indication of what's to come. All right. That is pretty much it, everybody. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave comments down below. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what we can do better. Feedback is always great. You can check this out on YouTube for visuals or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other streaming platforms for the audio-only version. Check us out on Instagram at Rapzville for NBA news, Raptors content. Anyone looking to collab with us, you can send us a DM or an email. Our email is linked into our description of all of our social media pages. And that's us signing out. Peace.